And that brings me to this concept of defensibility. For an investor to take interest in your solution, for you to bring a third party in to invest in your idea, or one, you have to be able to prove the viability of that idea. But beyond that as well, investors want to know that they are protected. They want to know about defensibility, which brings to this idea of defensibility, not just in terms of your technology or your solutions or the uniqueness, but market and things like that. So could you briefly walk us through this concept of defensibility? What does it mean? And what are the strategies? What are the different ways to go about it? And maybe more importantly, how important is it in making your business investable?
Okay, so still on me. So product market fit, which is essentially proving that there's a market for your solution and users would pay for it. So a few people have already mentioned this, both the professor and Olajide. It's all well and good writing a 10-page business plan of all the amazing things you want to do and what the opportunities are and throwing out statistics. But the real value is when you've actually spoken to users on the ground. You're able to record traction like an increase in the number of, it depends on what type of business it is. If it's a technology product, for instance, the number of users that are accessing your platform. If it's a buying and selling business, the number of transactions you're able to facilitate, that is traction. That is actually showing that there's activity and there's flesh and there's meat to what it is you're proposing. That supports defensibility. Having just an idea, it doesn't help your chances of getting capital. I think we tend to compare ourselves a lot to Western economies, like, so for instance, the United States, the United Kingdom. There's a lot of capital there. So there are lots of investors that are willing to just throw their money in the sense of their risk tolerance is higher than your risk tolerance for investors and capital in Nigeria. So in achieving defensibility, having numbers to prove your conversation and saying that, okay, there's this business that is able to achieve X. Not just leaving the sentence there, is able to achieve X, and this is how I know it's been able to achieve X because we have been able to achieve Y. As an example, so maybe I can say, for instance, okay, we have this e-commerce business. Well, let me relate it to farming. We have this opportunity to go into moringa farming. We have been able to grow a moringa tree in Ogbomoso, for instance, and it's cost us X to grow it, and we've been able to sell the moringa leaves at Y, and the profit margin is this. Now we want to scale to more regions in Nigeria apart from Ogbomoso, so we need investments. The banks would be more willing because you have a track record of having done a pilot. The equity investor as well will be more willing to share the risk because you have proven something. But without you actually having some skin in the game, it's hard to actually for you to get anybody on board, be it debt or equity funding. I think the fact that you've actually done your homework and you've got your hands dirty, you've put in some sort of investment to prove that your business idea is viable, I think that improves your defensibility. And it's not very expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive for you to prove business solution works. You can start with your own immediate, we all have communities of family and friends, community of, if you're in university, you definitely have a community of, colleagues in your university, classmates, and all of that. You can start testing with your immediate community and building up traction, and then use that to even